Today I'm going to cover 5 sapphic roles that help the actors who played them come to terms with their own sexuality, according to them. At the end, I'll mention one queer actor for whom playing gay did not help and even pushed her further into the closet, so stay tuned.
Waverley, in many ways, was the instigator for me to have the courage to address those parts of myself.
Let's start with Provost Chalkley, ready to give up on a career in acting when, in 2015, they landed the role of Waverley Earp on the Canadian sci-fi show Winona Earp. Very quickly, the character meets and falls for the local law lady, Nicole Hort, and so started the popular Way-Hortship. Dom finding out about their character's sexuality was a turning point.
I'll never forget it. I had my cup of coffee to my left, sat in this armchair in Calgary, and I opened the script and I was just like, oh, fuck. Oh my God. Okay, this is where I'm going to have to address this.
Which culminated in Dom coming out as pansexual in 2020 on their 30th birthday. They announced it through the Start the Wave charity website, saying they'd known they were queer when they were 9, but had suppressed it until they were forced to face it through playing Waverley. In 2021, they came out again as non-binary and with they-them pronouns. Perhaps they were inspired by Kate Barrell, their co-star and on-screen love interest, who came out as bisexual the year before, and perhaps Kate also came out due to playing gay, but I didn't see that acknowledged in the articles I read, so she doesn't get her own entry on this list. Although I feel like it surely must have had something to do with it. The role of Josie on the TV show Legacies apparently played into the actress Kaylee Bryant coming out during Pride Month in 2021. She posted an Instagram picture with the caption revealing that she is queer. In an interview with BuzzFeed that same month, she said, "I was still figuring out who I was and what my label was, and playing a character who was so comfortable in who she was, it was inspiring to me in a way that I think a lot of other people watching the show have been inspired." I'm assuming by that she means it inspired her to accept her sexuality. On the show, she played Josie, a pansexual who has a lovers to frenemies dynamic with ex-girlfriend Penelope Park, and there was a bit of tension between Josie and the character Hope, which didn't culminate in anything despite the fan support. Instead, she headed off screen to go study at the same place as Penelope, so I'm assuming they got back together. Putting Evan Rachel Wood on this list might be a bit cheeky, but after watching the Refinery 29 10-year anniversary reunion for the 2003 movie 13, I feel like playing the role of Tracy Freeland was a big deal for Evan Rachel Wood and her journey to discovering her bisexuality. Even though she'd played a queer teen previously on Once and Again with Misha Barton a year or so before.
It's so intense, those feelings you have as a young girl for other girls. And then you broke out and you were like, well, actually,
Yeah, I was like, yes, those were all there. And also this, like, hidden sexuality that I had not explored yet at all.
I've linked to the full reunion in the comments. She didn't actually come out until 2011, however, when she was in her early 20s in an Esquire interview, also linked below, because she didn't want people to question if this was a phase for her or not, which, given how that is not an uncommon response, I can appreciate. Chyler Leigh spoke about the impact that her character Alex Danvers on Supergirl had when she had her coming out story with Maggie Sawyer, offering up what I think is one of the best coming out stories I've ever seen, because it just played so real. And it turns out there was a good reason for that. On her charity website, Create Change, she wrote an open letter saying, "What I didn't realize was how the scene where she finally confessed her truth would leap off the pages of the script and genuinely become a variation of my own IRL. My heart felt like it was going to beat out of my chest each take we filmed." She spoke about how taking the role of Alex was a long and lonely road, both for herself and her husband, not just due to how it brought her queerness to the front, which in itself must have been intense, but in how they lost dear friends for simply portraying a lesbian role. Playing the role of Sue Gilbert in the show Dickinson also had a profound impact on actress Ella Hunt. Landing the role as Emily Dickinson's best friend and lover in the queer-centric show is in large part responsible for Ella coming out as queer herself. She said in an interview with Square Mile, "It's taken me moving to New York and shooting a queer female-driven show to take pride in the bizarre sides of myself. Such an outwardly queer show that glorifies queerdom makes it less scary to enjoy these elements of myself and explore it in a way that I might not have done if I hadn't got the show." She later confirmed via Twitter, "I am queer and I'm happy to be open about it," when having an exchange with a fan. Playing queer, however, doesn't automatically help a queer actor become comfortable with their sexuality sexuality, and in some cases, it can even push them deeper into the closet. So it was for Clea DuVall, who publicly came out in 2016 at a Sundance Film Festival panel after writing, directing, and acting in the movie The Intervention, which saw her reunited with her But I'm a Cheerleader co-stars Natasha Lyonne and Melanie Lynskey. She'd privately been out to her friends and family for over 2 decades, although she said of that era, "I was very closeted and very afraid of people finding out I was gay. It was the 90s. There was no conversation about sexuality. You were just not going to talk about it." So when she played the iconic queer role of Graham in But I'm a Cheerleader and people were scrutinizing her sexuality during the press for the movie, she said, "It was dangerous for me. It was such a scary time. Once it came out and we started the press cycle for it, I remember feeling like, oh shit, I need to hide. I need to stop." And consequently, she avoided queer roles after that for a long time. What eventually changed? I imagine many things, such as her ability to start making queer content like The Intervention, Happiest Season, and High School, which reflected her experience, and getting to a place within herself where, as she says, she felt settled. But I think this quote from her is also telling. So much pain comes from not accepting yourself for who you are. I've seen so many people bending over backwards and tying themselves into knots. I've had friends die because they were trying so hard to be something that they weren't. Eventually, you buckle under the weight of that. That's the list. Can you think of any other Woman Love Woman roles that helped actors who played them to come out? Let me know in the comments. Check out these videos on your screen, and until next time, lady lovers.